A perfect foundation with no attention is a beautiful building that nobody visits. It's the fuel that feeds everything else in the ecosystem, and without a steady flow of it, the rest of the system has nothing to work with. This is what I call the attention level, and in the Content Flywheel Engine, it's run by a system called the Content Catalyst. This is part 2 of the level mini-series. Before you watch it, make sure you've seen part 1, the foundation, because everything here lands on that base that you already built there. In this video, we will build that level that brings people to that foundation in the first place. If you run a business, if you're a founder or you sell professional services, this is a level that determines whether anyone ever enters your system at all. I spent over 27 years in B2B marketing, and consistent attention is a thing that most businesses get wrong. Not because they can't create it, they create it in bursts and then go quiet. In this video, I will show you what attention is and why it's the fuel for the entire engine. I will show you how the Content Catalyst creates it through short form content, why consistency beats intensity, the outcome it produces, and how that outcome feeds the next level, capture, which is part 3. This is one piece of a bigger framework that I call the conversion ecosystem. My goal is to use this system to help you become the most visible, the most valuable, and the most trusted business in your market. So if that interests you, keep on watching. Every level above attention needs a steady flow of the right people arriving to do its job. Attention is what produces that flow, the consistent visibility that's the fuel for everything else in the ecosystem. Starve it, and the rest of the system has nothing to work with. Let me show you why this level matters so much, because it's the one thing that everything else depends on. Think about what it means mechanically. Your capture system could be brilliant, but if it has nothing to capture, no one is arriving. Your nurture can be perfect, but there's no one to nurture without new contacts coming in. Every level above attention is a machine for processing people, and attention is what supplies that people. A starved attention layer means every system after it runs on empty, no matter how well it's built. This is why the attention level sits at the front of the engine. In the Content Flywheel Engine, the attention layer is run by the Content Catalyst. Everything depends on bringing new people to the front of the system, so the rest of the ecosystem has something to move. Content Catalyst is the front door, and if the door is quiet or closed, the whole building is empty, however good the rooms are inside. And this is why it connects directly to what you just built. Attention brings strangers to your foundation. The clarity you built in part 1 only matters if people actually arrive to experience it. Attention is what delivers them. So these two levels are partners. The foundation makes sure arrivals land on clarity, and attention makes sure there are arrivals in the first place. One without the other fails. So the job of this level is simple. Create a steady, consistent flow of the right strangers arriving at your business. Not bursts, not a spike, a reliable system. Because everything above it runs on this fuel. The quality and consistency of your attention sets the ceiling for everything else. Let me show you how the Content Catalyst actually creates it. The system that creates attention in the Flywheel Engine is the Content Catalyst. Short form content that creates discovery and pulls strangers into your orbit of your business. Let me unpack that, because the how matters as much as the what. Short form content is the material that lives where strangers already are. The posts, the clips, the brief pieces that appear in feeds and searches and recommendations. Its job is discovery. Being found by people who were not looking for you, who did not know you existed, and giving them a reason to notice. Content Catalyst is the catalyst that turns a stranger scrolling past into a stranger paying attention, which is the first step of the entire journey. The word catalyst is chosen on purpose. A catalyst starts a reaction. The Content Catalyst starts the reaction that pulls a stranger out of a wider world into the orbit of your business. Before the Content Catalyst, they were nowhere near you. After it, they've noticed you, they're in your orbit, and they can be moved further. That pull from stranger to aware is what this system produces piece after piece. There's an important reframe here about what this content is actually for. Most businesses think content produces traffic and traffic produces leads. That model skips the step that actually matters. Content produces consumption, consumption builds trust, and built up trust is what eventually produces a ready buyer. So the Content Catalyst is not just chasing views, it is a starting of the consumption that will, over time and across the whole engine, build into trust. The attention is the beginning of that buildup. And this is why the Content Catalyst runs on volume and not the occasional polished post. The attention layer can't run on a trickle of carefully perfected pieces. It runs on a steady volume, a consistent stream of short form content, creating discovery again and again. Some pieces will land far better than others, and those winners become especially valuable. But you can't find these winners or feed the engine without the steady volume underneath. This is the gold nugget principle at work. You created a volume because finding a few pieces the market rewards requires a lot of prospecting through a lot of ordinary ground first. The content catalyst is a volume system because discovery is a numbers game played with consistency. The single most important principle about creating attention is this, and it's where most businesses go wrong. Consistency beats intensity. Are you only visible in short bursts during campaigns, or are you consistently being seen by potential customers? The answer to that question decides whether your attention actually works, because inconsistent visibility is almost the same as no visibility at all. Let me explain why this is true, because it's counterintuitive. Most businesses do attention in bursts. They run a campaign, show up intensely for a few weeks, and then go quiet until the next push. All that concentrated effort feels productive, but it fails because buyers forget you during the gap. The intense burst builds a little awareness, and then the silence erases it. So the next burst starts from scratch. Inconsistent visibility is almost the same as no visibility because of how memory and trust work. The buyer needs to run into you many times across a stretch of time before you become familiar enough to trust. Bursts with long gaps never let that buildup happen, because each gap resets the buyer's memory of you. This is what I call attention debt. The ground you lose every time you go quiet, plus extra effort it takes to earn it back. You are always reintroducing yourself instead of deepening familiarity. That means you never build the steady presence that turns a stranger into someone who knows and trusts you. Consistent visibility does the opposite. Showing up steadily, week after week, means the right people run into you regularly, and each encounter builds on the last. You move from a stranger they saw once to a name that they recognize to a business they feel that they know, precisely because you never disappeared long enough for them to forget. The steady drip outperforms the occasional flood because trust is built by repetition over time, and repetition needs consistency. So the goal of the content catalyst is not the biggest possible campaign. It's the most consistent possible presence. Are the right people running into your business regularly, or do you show up for a few weeks and then go quiet? Always aim for regularity. A modest amount of attention created consistently beats a huge amount created in bursts, because consistency is what lets attention build up instead of resetting. This is a discipline that separates an attention layer that works from one that just occasionally spikes. The outcome of attention is a steady stream of the right strangers pulled from a wider world into your orbit, arriving at your business as interested people. The content catalyst moves a stranger up the attention ladder from unaware to interested. Sit with that outcome because it's precise. It's not just for views or reach, which are vanity numbers if they go nowhere. The real outcome is interested people arriving, strangers who have been pulled into your orbit and are now paying attention, landing on the foundation that you already built. That combination, the volume of the right people, plus the arrival at your clear base, is what attention exists to produce. Notice how the outcome depends on the previous level and completes it. Attention delivers interested strangers. The foundation from part one makes sure that those strangers land on clarity and understand you. Together, they produce the true outcome. Not just attention that lands well, interested people who arrive and immediately get what you do. Attention without a foundation produces arrivals that leave confused. A foundation without attention produces clarity that nobody sees. The two together produce interested, oriented people. And this outcome is what makes the fuel for everything above. A steady stream of interested people arriving at a clear foundation is the raw material the entire rest of the engine process. Every level above is waiting for these interested arrivals so we could go to work. The quality and consistency of the outcome sets the ceiling for everything downstream. The whole engine can only process the interested people that attention supplies. So the outcome to aim for is a reliable flow of the right strangers becoming interested people arriving continuously at your foundation. No spikes, no one-off campaigns, just a steady stream of people. Produce that and you've done the job of this level. You've turned a wider world into a consistent supply of interested people entering the front door of your system, ready to be moved up to the next step. Attention can pull a stranger all the way to interested and still lose them completely if there's nowhere for that interest to go. Let me show you the handoff that keeps it from leaking away, because the outcome of attention hands directly to the level above it, capture. And here's the handoff. The content catalyst moves a stranger up the attention ladder to the interested. The handoff is the moment that the interested person is given somewhere to go. That somewhere is an offer that turns their interest into a known contact. What must pass across this handoff is a clear, well-placed offer at the exact point that the interest peaks. When someone is most interested in what you showed them, that is the moment to offer them the next step. And the next level, capture, is what provides it. This handoff breaks in a specific common way. It breaks when the attention layer creates interest but offers no next step. So the interested person admires the content and then leaves. This is one of the great tragedies of the attention done in isolation. You do all the hard work pulling a stranger in, making them interested, and then at the peak of their interest, you give them nowhere to go. They enjoyed your content, felt the interest, and drifted off because nothing was there to catch them. Making sure that that tragedy never happens is exactly what the conversion ecosystem is built to prevent. The fix is to make sure every place that creates interest has a capture offer within reach of it. Every piece of the content catalyst that creates interest should have a next step nearby, so the interested person can act on interest right away rather than admiring and leaving. This is the bridge from this level to the next. Interest met with an offer at the moment interest peaks. Attention creates the interest, capture provides the offer. The handoff is putting the offer exactly where the interest is. So the outcome of attention is interested people arriving and feeding that directly to capture. Job is to turn that interest into a known contact before it evaporates. Attention pulls a stranger in and warms them to interested. Capture captures them at their peak and turns them into someone you could reach again. Without the next level, the interest attention works so hard to create simply leaks away, which is exactly why we have capture built next. Here are 5 things you need to understand about attention. Attention is the fuel that feeds everything in the ecosystem. And without a steady flow of it, every level above runs on empty. In the Content Flywheel Engine, the attention layer is run by the content catalyst, which creates attention through short-form content that creates discovery and pulls strangers into your orbit. It runs on consistent volume, not the occasional polished. The most important principle is that consistency beats intensity. Inconsistent visibility is almost the same as no visibility because buyers forget you during the gaps. Show up steadily and each encounter builds on the last. The outcome attention produces is a steady stream of the right strangers becoming interested people arriving at a clear foundation you built in part 1. And that outcome feeds the next level, capture. At the exact moment interest peaks. The handoff is a clear, well-placed offer within reach of every piece that creates interest. It breaks when attention creates interest but offers no next step, so the interested person admires the content and then leaves. Fix that and the interest you created becomes a known contact instead of leaking away. That is attention. Part 2 of the Level mini-series, run by the Content Catalyst in the Content Flywheel Engine. This is one layer of something bigger called the conversion ecosystem. If you haven't watched part 1, the foundation, go back for it because attention only works when it lands on a clear base. Next up is part 3, capture, where we build the level that catches all the interest and turns it into contacts you know, run by a system called Impact Lead Magnets. Remember, the most visible, the most valuable, the most trusted business in your market wins. The whole point of the conversion ecosystem is to build a system that makes you all 3.